Welcome to the Clouse Q Show live on ONTV. We're coming to you from the ONTV studio in Lake Orion, Michigan. I'm Jason Clouse. I'm being joined by my tag team partner of sorts in this endeavor, Quadell Edwards. Quadell Q. We are going to tackle a topic this week that is, we said it right before we came on the air here. This is going to be something that resonates with people. And it is no mistake, it's just a coincidence that we're matching this week. And I feel like for the first time since we started this, it's almost like we had like a wardrobe person or something. Like, today you wear white, but that is not the case. This is what happens when two great minds, think alike.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about the mind here on this episode of the Clouse Q Show because we wanted to find something, as we do with every topic that we approach here on the show. We want to find something that's going to resonate with all of you, something that you can take away after watching the broadcast. You can apply to your everyday life on how you can be a better, person for yourself and for those in and around your lives. Mm-hmm. That's kind of been the whole MO of the whole thing here, the whole reason why we do this. Before we get started into this topic, let's play a little bit of catch up. How's things in your neck of the woods?
I'm doing pretty good. My family's doing good. For those who have been following my situation, we are actually doing really, really good. And it's the fact that we have each other. It's important. Family is important. We all can hold each other up and, just keep moving forward. Don't let stuff stop you from doing what you're supposed to do or, chasing dreams or whatever the case may be, because you're going to always have hiccups. You're going to always have situations come up. Just be prepared to get over that hurdle.
That's just it, because especially as we embark on the topic for this episode here, that's going to be kind of an underlying thing is our approach on anything that we do. Now, with your situation, what you are alluding to, you guys are still very much in this process of overcoming a significant challenge in terms of, it's been well documented about the house fire that you guys had been a part of, and I still maintain, I maintain then, I maintain now, your approach to this is what makes the difference between this being a success story and something that is something of a tragedy. Because make no mistake about it, it's a tragic situation. But you have the ability to focus even in what would be just a monumental issue for anybody else that would allow that to dictate their entire mood, mm-hmm. their entire aura, right. the way they go about life. It is a mindset going into it of, there's nothing that we can do. What's happened has happened.
Yep.
What can I do to overcome this? That's your approach. Not everybody has had that approach. Not everybody has that capability.
Right.
A lot of people who go through things like this, they focus exclusively on the negatives. And I mean, in something like that, how could you not? I understand that wholeheartedly. But the sun rises the next day regardless. Time keeps moving on. Mm-hmm. And no matter how upset we are, no matter what we're dealing with, we have to find a way to make the most of the situation. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. Is it going to be controversial? It could be. It all depends on your approach. You are, and I have maintained this for as long as I've known you, from day one that I met you. That is the most positive person I think that I have met in quite some time. And it goes back to a number of different things, and you nailed something right out of the gate here. You guys are doing well, you and your wife and your family, your kids, because you have each other.
Right.
You have that strong support system that keeps you grounded. You have that fundamental love, respect, appreciation, this relationship, this family that is built on what these things are supposed to be built upon. Not the drama, not the controversy, not the material things, not where we live, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, none of that crap means anything.
Exactly.
You guys have maintained the basic fundamental, what I call the basic fundamentals of life, what makes life truly important. And that is going to play a hand in our topic here tonight, Battlefield of the Mind. And when we release this title this week over across all of our social media accounts, I got a couple of questions about it. Like, man, where are you guys going with this? Battlefield of the Mind? This sounds like something that could be confrontational, if nothing else. And I understand that. But it's not supposed to be confrontational. I keep wanting to say controversial.
Yeah.
This is not supposed to be confrontational. But even though, in the grand scheme of things, like, we are soldiers in some regards, especially as we embark on these different challenges, these different things that we are dealing with, they're very much individualized. But more often than not, it does and will include other people, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's coworkers. Yeah. And we have to figure out what our strategy is going to be as we embark on this, right? So
yeah.
This is part of a big list that I think, we sat down and looked at it like, well, this could be all one episode, but when you break down the individual segments here, each segment has enough content here to where this could be its own episode, and that's what we're doing here. We just decided that we're going to tackle this one first. Battlefield of the Mind. What they have here, a war is raging and your mind is the battlefield. If you've ever dealt with things like worry, doubt, confusion, any sort of depression, anger, or being condemned, you've experienced firsthand the attacks in your mind. I don't know a human being that has not encountered most, if not all of these. You?
Oh,
I mean, and if so, you're a robot, right?
Right. It's a common thing. You look in the mirror. If you look in the mirror, you can see that look into your own mind, and you can see that there's a battle going on, even with decision making, because decisions help shape your life. I mean, so all of that stuff is taking place, even if it's something small, and it can be magnified into something big. And one thing I notice when it comes to the mind. It usually takes 5 positive things to overcome one negative thing. Mm-hmm. And because we focus so much on a negative, you have one positive thing versus that negative, you're going to focus on that negative.
Right.
And it's almost like a common battle that we go through because that we magnify it so big, it could be that little paper cut. You got a little paper cut on your finger? You think you need stitches, or you about to call 911. My finger's about to fall off. All this stuff is going on in the mind because we focus so much on it that it's almost like you're putting a magnifying glass on it.
That's a very good analogy.
You're making it big. It's bigger than what it appears, and it's not that big. But the way your mind plays that trick on you, it looks a lot bigger. When that positive thing is just sitting there neglected, we're not thankful. That's where you're not thankful. You don't have gratitude for all the good things that's going on because you're not thinking about it. Like I always say, you see the glass half full, half empty. I see the glass as refillable. You can always refill that glass.
Yeah.
Life is not over when you see that one little paper cut.
Right.
It heals.
I feel like that is a telltale sign of what makes an individual who they are.
Yeah.
How do you go about life? Because if you are focusing exclusively on the negatives, that tells me a lot about who you are fundamentally as a person. And you're absolutely right, especially in this day and age, because I have talked about this extensively across all of our platforms. There is a sensationalism in drama. Right. There is sensationalism in anything negative because for whatever reason, in our society, in this day and age, Controversy is what sells.
It sells.
I don't understand why that is a thing, other than the fact that there is something missing in somebody's makeup, in their minds, in their egos, something that they feel that they're going to get the most amount of attention if they attach themselves to some sort of controversy.
Right, you're
some
living
sort of
vicariously through that situation.
drama. Yeah.
Yep.
Why are we doing this?
You know what? If whatever you feel that you're missing in your life, you want to try to pick it up in that drama. You try to pick it up in that what you call excitement, and it's like a stimulant that's in your brain, and it is, you just can't get rid of it. It's almost like a drug, you know, that it's a stimulant, and sometimes we just gotta sit back and just say, okay, why am I dealing with so much drama that's self-inflicted?
Right.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's self-inflicted when you focus on such chaos. I mean, do you really want to be chaotic? Because once you start getting in the midst of that thing, you want out.
You know, you said something. I got to watch how I say this, because things like this, it hits personally. Okay?
Right,
It hits personally because in very much real time, this could be something that I am currently going through or I have dealt with very recently. Because it is one of those things where it starts to mess with your approach on everything. And we're going to kind of take this in a different realm, instead of focusing on the people that thrive on the drama, that thrive on the controversy, that thrive on the negativity, because in their mind, that's where they're getting the most attention. They're lacking something, a lack of self-esteem. They don't feel like that they fit in. They don't feel like they're a contributor in some way, shape, or form. They're not getting that scratch itch or that itch scratch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in our minds, we figure, okay, if I'm going to get the most amount of attention on me if I attach myself to this kind of drama, well, then at least I'm getting some sort of recognition. Problem is that is the wrong kind of recognition, in my view. Because I'll tell you what, I saw a meme today online on Facebook, actually. It registered so hard, I actually shared it, but I wound up taking it down because of the way it was worded. It was pretty harshly worded, and I think it was only up there for maybe a half an hour, and I'm like, I should probably take that down because of the way the language was. But the meaning of it was a very powerful one. You know, it's like I ignore a lot of things because I cannot handle drama. But make absolute no mistake about it, I fear no one. You know what I mean? Like I even though I'm shying away from a situation or a person or something that I feel like is not causing or not bringing me any kind of positivity or anything of a positive contribution to my life or to where I want to go, it's not because I fear them. It's because I just don't want to be attached to that kind of stigma.
Right.
You know, and that's a very PG version of this particular meme. But again, man, it all comes back down to our mental approach on anything and everything. This is where we have to come. This is where we put the rubber to the road, man. And part of it is, and we've talked about this on various episodes here of the Clouse Q Show, is you got to get honest with yourself.
Right.
If you cannot maintain some sort of legitimately honest opinions and thoughts and feelings about how you truly feel about whatever you're dealing with, don't worry about the influences of the people around you. They're not living your life. They're not making your decisions. If you are allowing them to make your decisions, then I would suggest, Q, and correct me if I'm wrong, that is a big contributor as to why you are in the mess that you may be in.
Oh, yeah.
Would you agree?
people that make decisions for other people are puppet masters. They're pretty much pulling some strings, and you're going along with it because you don't know how to get out of it. So when you allow other people to have control, then they're the ones who are shaping who you become. So that's one thing that you cannot allow in your life, because once you become who you don't want to be because somebody else, then you got to point at yourself and say, why did I let them do that? Why did I let them hold the keys? You know, why did I give them the steering wheel? Why I let them take control?
Right.
So you really do got to be honest with yourself. You got to hold yourself accountable, and you got to have people around you that will hold you accountable. You know, if I start to slip up, I expect Jason to get in my face and say, man, what's wrong with you? That's not you.
I would probably be a little bit more colorful about it just to hammer my point home, but it's because I care.
Exactly. That's important. You need people like that care. But you have to be able to care for yourself. You have to be able to care for yourself, because you're not going to make the right decisions if you don't care. You don't care about yourself, you know, because you're going to go down the wrong path.
I have examples of this, okay? Some of them are pretty personally charged, but I feel like it has to be told, and I have to be somewhat sensitive about this, because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm putting their business out on a very public forum. Like, it gets no more public than this, right? But you're talking about being honest with ourselves fundamentally as an individual. What kind of life do we want? What kind of life do we need? Who do we want to share our lives with? All these different aspects, okay? Now, the problem is, like you alluded to, like I have alluded to, is when you start letting other people influence who and what you are, what your decisions are, what you're going to do, you will have now compromised who you are as an individual. You did that because you allowed that to be a thing.
Yep.
Now, I understand, and I know there's people watching that immediately just said out loud, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what I'm going through. And to some degree, you would be right, because every situation is different. Every scenario is different. What Q is going through, I may not fundamentally relate to. I don't know the thoughts and the feelings that go into losing your home to a house fire and your family being displaced. I get that, but that doesn't mean I don't care. That doesn't mean that I'm not concerned about my friend and his family, and vice versa. There's things that I am going through that Q does not understand wholeheartedly, based other than what I have shared with him. But he is my friend, and I am his friend. And fundamentally, he cares about me. He cares about my well-being. That is a huge thing when you are battling these things in our minds. A lot of times we feel like we are isolated. A lot of times we feel like we are the lone soldier on the battlefield on this side of the equation, and across the field is a whole army of the opposition. So when you have somebody that you respect, that you genuinely like, that you have any kind of connection with, and they have demonstrated to you that they are side by side, it may just be the two of you against an entire army, but that's one more person, that's one more support that you probably didn't think that you had, right?
Right.
So just having that kind of emotional support and knowing that my friend Q is right next to me during this, whether we go down or not, does not matter, because he has demonstrated that he's got my back and I've got his. And hey, if this is what it takes, and we do go down, that's cool. We're going down, but we're taking people with us.
Yep.
I use that as a metaphor, as we need to, aside from being honest with ourselves and with our own feelings and things of this nature, we need to take that time to step back and look at the battlefield. You have to evaluate everything that's happening. You have to, in some cases, you have to try to anticipate what could happen.
Right.
This is where it kind of falls into that dangerous part of overthinking, because we've talked about that here very, very recently. But I don't look at it as overthinking unless it becomes a thing where it consumes every aspect of your thought process. I look at it as a part of preparation.
Yeah.
You try to prepare for the worst case scenario, so if that does materialize, you're not completely taken off guard, right?
Right. That's your defense system.
Yeah. It most certainly is a defense mechanism.
Yeah. One thing, and this is very important about the mind. If you really knew the importance of the mind, even in general, there's things that you wouldn't allow into it. One thing that we, as a people, individuals, everybody out there, we all deal with we have gates. You have gates. You have things that you hear, you have things that you see, that you take into your mind. And there's some things that we should not allow through those gates. And a lot of people provide a lot of negative things that we allow into the gates. Because when people speak negative, you don't have to accept it. You don't have to accept it. You might hear it, but you don't have to allow it to enter in. Because once it gets in here, it begins to, what I said earlier, you put that magnifying glass on it because it's in there now. Mm-hmm. So what we have to do is we have to protect ourselves from these gates and stop allowing all of this stuff that discourages you, all of this stuff that has you depressed and have you all over the place, have your mind all chaotic. It's because of some of the stuff that we watch. It might be some stuff that you watch. And I'm not saying you can't go watch TV or nothing like that. I'm just saying there's things that might trigger. It's different for everyone. Everyone have different triggers that stimulate. Everyone have different triggers. And if I have an alcohol problem, which is still a battle in the mind, because you got that stimulant that actually shoots that signal to the body saying you need alcohol, it starts in the mind. So if I'm having that battle going on in the mind, I'm not going to go to the bar and say, everybody's trying to feed me stuff that I can't handle right now.
Right.
These are things that we deal with on a daily basis. It's a daily thing, those battles that we go through that leads to addictions and all of this other stuff that knock you off your platform that you're supposed to be on. The stuff that you want to do in life, you can't even do it because you got all this hindrances from what's going on up here. So it's important that if you knew how valuable this was, this is your government, your individual government, because I can't do none of this without this. All this it's in control of everything you got. So if you knew how valuable your mind is, you wouldn't do all the stuff or allow all the stuff in that hinders your mind.
How much of it is a result of being taken off guard? And I'll give you an example. Like, let's say you discover after an extended period of time how a person truly is. Like, they have presented themselves in one way or another that is, by and large, more positive than not. But over the course of time, certain instances, certain scenarios, certain things start popping up that start drawing red flags. They start drawing red flags to the point to where this individual who you had once one idea about how and what they were as an individual, they're now starting to show true intentions. That, by and large, is a stark and negative contrast to what they had initially presented themselves as to you. Now, you want to talk about You want to talk about messing with somebody's mind? That causes almost, well, by and large, almost irreparable damage. In some cases, on the extreme cases, it does cause damage that people cannot overcome.
Right.
They cannot look past that. And on the far extreme ends of that spectrum, that's when you start hearing of these stories of people taking their own lives.
Yeah.
You know, because they just, it's too much for them. They would just rather not be here than to deal with the psychological damage that happened on that particular day in that particular battle on the battlefield of your mind. Now, this hour is going by really quick because I do have something of a couple of examples to hammer this home. But what I want to do first is I want to run a break so we get that done because that's important. And when we come back to the show, I will give my couple of examples that kind of puts this into different perspectives that perhaps you have gone through. I know I have. I'm sure some of you have, or you know somebody who has. So what we'll do, Q, is we will run a quick timeout, and then we will be back with more of the Clouse Q Show live on ONTV right after this.
ONTV encourages you to go back to school and attend our 10-week video production workshop. Classes meet on Monday nights from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and offer instruction on studio production, field production, and non-linear editing. The cost is $55 per person, and upon completion of the class, you get access to ONTV's facilities and equipment to produce your own program or short film. For more information, give ONTV a call at 248-393-1060 or visit orionontv.org today. Have you ever thought of producing your own podcast? ONTV offers the facilities, equipment, and training to help you get your own podcast off the ground. Learn how to record your show and get it out to the world. Cost is $25 per person, which gives you access to ONTV's podcast room and equipment. For more information, give ONTV a call at 248-393-1060 or visit orionontv.org today.
Welcome back to the Clouse Q Show here on ONTV. I'm Jason Clouse, being joined by Quadell Edwards. And Q, you know me, bro. When I go on a tangent, it's typically a pretty lengthy one. So before I go into the next segment or the next part of this show where I kind of lay out some examples, this battlefield of the mind type of thing, I don't want to, overstep any boundaries or take up any airtime or something like that. So, I mean, is there anything that you want to bring to the table in terms of this topic, this battlefield of the mind, before I start going off on what could become a promo, really?
Yeah, I do. I want to add this, especially it's kind of piggybacking off of what was just said before the break. I highly encourage everyone that's dealing with issues of the mind to, if you have to seek out help, there are different helplines, suicide watch lines, and there are ways that you can connect. I'm available. You can find me on Facebook under Quadell Edwards. I talk to people. I'm sure Jason Clouse. You could reach him on his different platforms. Clouse to the Heart.
I mean, the Clouse Q Show has
Clouse
its own
Q Show. You
Facebook
can reach us.
page,
You can reach us. Yeah, reach us. Because no matter what you've done, I never like to see people jump off the ledge. Don't jump off I always say, do not make a permanent decision out of a temporary situation, because those issues can be resolved. Just seek out help. Don't get so deep into that mental breakdown and depression to where you feel like the other side is greener. So seek help. reach out. We are available. We are available. We do answer. We're not Dwayne The Rock Johnson, or we're not the big celebrities or like that say, you know what, talk to my secretary. You can talk to us. Right. You can talk to people. There's people that are willing to, speak to you and help you through and talk you off that ledge.
Very good point. And kind of reiterating what you're saying, like Q and I read everything that comes into our Facebook page. We don't have people that read our stuff and they filter what makes, what comes across our proverbial desk.
There's no moderators.
No, we handle our own business. So if you send something to us for our opinion, you're getting our honest opinion. Along those lines, I reread during the course of the break here how the battlefield of the mind topic, how they broke that down, and all of the things that go into play for us individually. You're dealing with these less than favorable emotions, the depression and heartbreak and disappointment and worry and wonder. And you start to allow that to compromise who you are as a person. You allow that to compromise what you want as an individual that will generate a degree of happiness that a lot of times, Q, people feel like they don't deserve. Now, I'm here to tell you something. If you are a decent person with good intentions, you have every right to pursue a path that's going to lead you to the happiness that you truly deserve. Now, the problem comes is that you are going to encounter people that see you thriving, that see you do good. And if you are somebody that is overcoming a significant challenge and they see that you are making these strides to overcome all that and for you to get back on a path that is going to lead to your happiness, that is a threat. And when somebody is threatened, they will go to extreme levels to try to bring you back down to their level. There's a reason why they're at the bottom of the rung and why you're not, okay? There's a reason why that happens. Because you have made the decision that where you are right now is not where you're supposed to be. You have made a decision that the course of action that you are on now is not going to lead you to that level of happiness that you desire. Okay? Misery loves company is not just a cliche.
So true.
I mean, my God. There is a lot of truth in that.
A whole lot.
Now, perhaps you may be in a situation where you feel overwhelmed. Perhaps you are in a situation where you feel like the whole world is coming down on top of you to the point to where you cannot accept or acknowledge the good that is in your life. So when you look at everything as a whole and you try to figure out the best course of action, immediate, because a lot of people need that immediate reaction.
Yep.
They need to have that immediate satisfaction in one way or the other. They need it now. People are so damn impatient in this day and age. They need everything right now. By and large, if it means anything to you, it's not going to happen overnight.
That's right.
It's going to take time, right?
It's the microwave generation.
I mean, what a great way of saying that.
Yep.
You're not going to make a gourmet meal in a microwave, okay? I need people to understand that in this day and age, it is perfectly okay to take your time to figure out who you want to be, where you want to be, what you want to be. And if there are instances, if there are scenarios, if there are people, if there are anything of the like that threatens that, or continues to throw curveball after curveball after curveball in your attempt to be who and what you want to be, those people fundamentally need to be taken out of the equation. whether severing ties, reducing their accessibility to you. And I realize that all depending on the situation, there are going to be situations where those people just cannot be eliminated all the way from your life. Okay, they have a child together, or they work together, or whatever.
Right.
But that does not mean that you have to allow them to dictate who and what you're going to be. It doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes you're going to have to go through uncomfortable situations. You're going to have uncomfortable conversations. But what you're doing is you are establishing yourself as you. You are taking back control of the situation.
Yep.
Resistance is met when the other party is starting to realize that they have lost some sort of control that they felt that they had over you. Okay? Now, when you are embarking on something like this, things will be said and done that will make you question whether or not you are doing the right thing. They will make you question as to, should you be going down this route? Because they will try to present a case to where the situation that you were trying to get away from is really what you need to be, because that's what's comfortable. Mm-hmm. That's what you know. That's what you're used to. The problem is that if it meant anything to you, if it brought you any degree of happiness or fulfillment, you wouldn't even be embarking on these changes. But it's happening for a reason. Mm-hmm. By and large, this other individual, this other entity, this other scenario is the reason why. We have to get honest with ourselves and understand that there are going to be times where you will doubt yourself. But that's where you got to keep your eyes on the prize. That's when you realize, okay, what is it that I want? How do I want to feel every day when I wake up? Because every day is a brand new day, man. It's a clean slate. What you do with it is up to you. Who you allow to be a part of it is up to you. Now, there are scenarios, there are situations to where, you can call into question their best interest and things of this nature. But when you start to realize that you are questioning whether or not you're on the right path because of something that somebody else is saying or doing, do not allow them to derail you. I'll give you an example. I know somebody that was part of a relationship. The relationship was everything that they felt like that they needed, that they wanted. They felt important. They felt respected. They felt like this is what I need. This is what I want. This is how I want to feel. But there are aspects that it was a threat to another individual. It was a threat to a different scenario. It was a threat to all of these different things that made them question, Jesus, am I doing the right thing? To the point to where they curbed or they put aside the relationship that made them happy because they doubted themselves. They were made to feel like they had to doubt themselves. And I understand that. It's mind manipulation. It is narcissistic activity. And that is the type of activity that you want to shy away from. You don't want to be spending the rest of your days with a narcissist, because you're never going to experience that level of happiness that you truly should be, that you should be a part of, that you should have accessibility to.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to live their life miserable. Nobody wants to live their life in constant fear and worry and all of these ill feelings. Like, you're dealing with that enough as it is, which is why you are in the situation that you are. Now, this is where, again, the rubber meets the road, because you come to the crossroads, you come to the fork in the road. Which way am I going to go? Am I going to go down the road that's more comfortable because that's what I know? Or am I going to take a chance on myself and try to find the happiness that I feel I truly deserve? And how can I allow a negative influence to derail the greatest thing that's ever happened to me? Or that feeling, that scenario, that relationship, that it really means something. Now, this is where I need your 2 cents in on this, because by and large, I feel like if you've truly come to grips, when you truly come to peace with what you want out of life, you are not going to allow these other influences to derail or to, I mean, in some cases, destroy something absolutely meaningful that's happening to you, right?
Right. We have two people with different intentions. It's obviously going to go opposite ways. So that's where, if you have someone who's trying to bring you down to their level and don't want you to grow or reach your dreams or reach any type of success, they'll claw and try to do whatever they can to bring you down with intentions. But what happens is, the person that's being brought down, if they're not intentionally trying to grow, then they're not going to disconnect from that person. So you have to make sure that you are intentional on your success to move forward and to actually grow. And that disconnect will happen. And it just like you said, it might not be a full disconnect. There might be certain situations where you're still kind of tied. But I always say, there's some people I got to love from afar. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to hate you. I'm not going to hate you, but I'm going to love you from a distance, because everybody is not for you, even when they appear to be for you in the beginning, because there's a thing called tricks. Your mind can play tricks, and that person can play tricks. And sometimes people are not revealed till later, in later stages of life. And you might click in the beginning. That friendship, that relationship that you have with this person, or whatever the case may be, if it's just a coworker or whatever it is, you might click with that person in the beginning. And, they always say true colors are show when adversity shows up. So when they start going through things and they're already in the dumps, and they see that you're starting to get out of your situation and you're going up and you're going for success, and you're reaching for the stars, and they see you reaching, they're reaching for your ankles.
Yeah.
They're reaching for your ankles. So don't allow people to bring you down when you're not meant to go down. And you're traveling in a different direction. I don't want you to grab the stick and put it in reverse while I'm driving forward. That's what they want you to do. They want you to crash because they're getting ready to crash. They're saying I'm not crashing by myself. Right. You going down with me.
Right.
They're not going to physically say that, but that's pretty much that's what we see. That's what's happening. People will bring you down in a form of incognito. Like sometimes you don't even know, because it's so tricky. Mm-hmm. So you gotta always have a watchful eye for people that you have close to you. No matter who it is, family. Every family member is not right for you. They say blood is thicker than water. We're not bleeding. Right. So what's the point? So you always strive for the best, but there's always people you have to leave behind.
Great segue, and I was waiting to tackle this next part here, and you set me up perfectly. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Your past. So many people allow their past, their mistakes, their shortcomings, whatever, to dictate and to define who they are here and now. I was very much a person that did that. I could sit here all day long and I could tell you every bad thing that I have done to myself, to other people, to people that I know, and to people I don't know. I could do that. I could allow those things to be a factor in not allowing myself to embark on whatever journey that I feel like it's going to take me to where I feel I should be, where I need to be, because there was a long time, Q, and I'm sure you've known people like this, that I don't deserve to be happy because I've done so many bad things in my life. This is one of the biggest battles in my mind that I have ever encountered.
That's
and
a big one too.
It is. There are people that mean the absolute world to me that deal with this today. Like, they don't feel like they deserve anything good based on mistakes that they had made previously. Look, we're humans. We all do things that may not make sense, and we do things that we look back on and we're like, damn, why did I do that? Why did this happen? Why did I allow this to be a thing? And because I allowed that to be a thing, I no longer deserve anything good in my life. I deserve all of the byproducts, we'll call it. Fundamentally false. Okay? Yeah, you messed up. Okay, you messed up a few times. It happens. Guess what? As you embark down life's, road, you're going to continue to make mistakes because you're a human being. You're not a robot, not a machine. You are a human. Humans make mistakes. It happens.
Yep.
As long as you learn from it and you apply those lessons moving forward, we're golden, okay? You are going to encounter these types of things throughout the course of your life. Now, as you learn these lessons, you know what to look for. You can kind of see the signs coming a lot of times, not every time. I get that. Sometimes things come out and you just have no idea that it's coming. But make absolute no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. If you know in your heart of hearts your intentions are good or pure, you want happiness, you care about other people, you care about somebody other than yourself, you deserve good things. You cannot rely or allow your identity to be defined by your past and by your mistakes, other than to allow to use those issues or scenarios to teach you who you don't want to be. Okay? So this didn't work. This didn't work. That was an issue. So not to go down that path again. Right. If it's a habitual thing, then that's another issue. Yep. But I need to make this perfectly clear, especially to a couple that I know are either watching live right now or they're going to be watching this on replay. I need you to focus on what I'm saying. And I know I'm talking to you. Your past is done. Not a damn thing you do or say is going to change what has already happened. Okay? That's just the way it is. You cannot allow that to define your present and your future. You can use it as kind of a guide of what you don't want to do, but I need you to understand you deserve good things in life. You deserve the happiness. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be respected. You deserve people in your lives that's going to accept you for you. Mm-hmm. You deserve people in your lives that accept you, that are all in with you. Don't shy away from those people. And I realize there is apprehension when that comes into play because of trust issues, because of something that may trigger a less than awesome thing that you've had to endure or work through or fight through leading up to where you are now. Various levels of abuse, various levels of disrespect, various levels of pain, heartbreak, the disappointment. I mean, we could go all the way down the line. But make no mistake about it. You are seen for who you are on your inside. If anybody really cares about you, they are dialed in to you. Like they see what is presented to them. But if they mean anything to you, you will see them through what is presented in a physical form. You can look right into their soul and you can see the good that is in there. Yeah. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be treated good. You deserve to have a situation that is by and large extremely favorable and makes you the best version of you. Those are the people you need to rally around. Those are the people that you need to allow to influence you. Don't worry about what happened in the past. What happened in the past is done. There is no DeLorean. You're not going back in time to change it.
That's right.
All you can do is learn from it. That's all you can do. And that's okay. Because people who want you to succeed, the people who truly love you, that truly, genuinely like you, not for any other reason, because you're a good person and you bring some sort of light to their lives. Those are the people that should be the heavy influencers, not the ones that want to derail you because they are too damn miserable in their own skin. They're too miserable with their own existence. And instead of working on themselves, they will try to, justify everything by bringing you down, by treating you like crap, to make you second guess what you're doing, who you are.
Right.
They ain't worth it. Go with the people who have your best interest. Focus on them. And everything else falls in the line. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And to touch on people dealing with the past, and people holding all that stuff against you, I want to quote a famous Disney character, Elsa, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. She a whole song about letting it go. There's things that we've all done. There's nobody perfect. If you think about it, Mr. Perfect used to be a wrestler. And you see that he was not perfect. He was not perfect. He had issues. There's nobody perfect on this earth. There's things that we've all done. I mean, there's no angels. I know I'm not an angel. I might be a pretty decent guy. But I have a past. We all have a past, and it's pretty much how you grow from it. Because if you are that same person you was 5 years ago, then maybe you're not doing something right. Maybe you're not taking those lessons or those failures and increasing yourself upon what you used to go through or what you went through. So that's one thing that we got to do is we got to continue to grow. You never stop growing. Once you stop growing, you start dying.
Right.
You stop growing, you start dying. So therefore, we have to continue to grow and don't hold that. Sometimes we hold that stuff against ourselves. Guilt. People, and that's going on in there too, where people are dealing with guilt. They never recover from what they went through 20 years ago. So it's important to really turn the failures into lessons. And those are lessons that you went through. Every storm that you go through, and I know you've seen that quote. Mm-hmm. Mr. Brian Buff put a quote out there on Facebook, and it said, "Not all storms are come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear the path." And it is so true because there's so much cloudy wind going on in our mind, but there's some things that's in our mind that shouldn't even be there in the first place, like some of that stuff in the past, like some of that stuff that we used to go through, and some of that stuff that others are still pointing at you for. Those are things that you have to clear out, and sometimes that storm will help you clear that stuff out. But the thing is, don't go back after that. Don't go backwards. A lot of people throw all of the past in the river and say, I'm done with it, but then they go deep sea diving and they go get it. And all of a sudden, it's a recurring thing. It's like a circle. You're going over and over and over, and you say you want help, but the intentions that you're showing me is not there. So that's why I always say, let stuff go and let the right people come in, because sometimes we can't even just like, oh man, those storms will sometimes clear the bad people out of the way. Those negative people, they need to be cleared out of the way, because you don't have room for the good people that want to support you.
Yeah.
You don't have room for them. So therefore, you need those people to come in and help push you forward. I want that push. And I know you all should want that push. And if you don't want that push, then keep your negative people. But it's an intentional thing. You have to be intentional on your growth. Don't stop growing just because of what you used to be. Don't stop growing just because of what you used to do. I've done some things that if the past if that stuff was to condemn me, I'll be dead right now. Some of the stuff that I went through, that I did, I would be dead right now if it was up to the past. But it's not up to the past. And I tell everybody, and I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna say this: the future is in here. It's not ahead of you. You have to produce it. The past is gone. The present is now, but the future has to be produced. That's a seed. Just like trees and fruit has seed, and it produce the seed produced the future. That seed of greatness is in you. So you have to produce it. Use those lessons to water that seed. Use those issues that you went through to water that seed and produce what you are meant to be. Produce your future, and don't let nobody take it away from you.
That is probably as good of a way to put a bow on this episode as I could imagine. That is beautifully said, very well illustrated. And again, just to reiterate real quick, anybody that needs anybody to talk to, like there's a number of different agencies out there, and like you said earlier, our DMs are open. So if you feel like we can be a help in some way, shape, or form, or we can steer you in the right direction to get the help that you need, by all means, please reach out. There is absolutely nothing wrong with asking for help. In fact, the contrast is, it's almost shied away because people are perceived as weak for asking for help. And in my opinion, there's not a more stronger example of being a strong person than asking for help, because you realize that's what needs to happen.
And it will be anonymous.
Yeah.
We're not going to put your business out there.
No, certainly not. But yeah, our DMs are open, or if we can't help you, we will find somebody that can and will, for sure. So very good topic this week. You brought up some great points here, and we certainly appreciate everybody tuning in here for this month's episode of the Clouse Q Show. And we will be back here live Friday night, October the 28th, beginning at 6 p.m. with a brand new episode of the Clouse Q Show. Check out our online store. Go over to cafepress.com/PFC network. Hit the Clouse Q link, and you get to see all kinds of new merchandise that's up there. Have you been over there lately?
I have.
Yeah. I could spend so much money on that store. So, for Quadell Edwards, I'm Jason Clouse. Go out, be awesome to yourselves and to each other. Find a way to make a positive impact in somebody's day. It will make all the difference in the world. Until then, we will see you next time on the Clouse Q Show, live on Orion Neighborhood Television.
Stay motivated.